We must abolish ICE.
We need to call for the abolishment of ICE. I think ICE should be abolished.
The Socialist Equality Party demands the abolition of ICE and defends the right of workers to live in any country of their choosing with full citizenship rights.
We should protect families that need our help, and that is not what ICE is doing today, and that's why I believe you should get rid of it.
What would you replace it with?
Nothing. No borders. No borders.
If that criticism of ICE makes you sad, here's a proposal. Let's shut it the fuck down. I'm serious. It's awful, and we don't actually need it.
No borders.
Abolish ICE, abolish CBP, and abolish any other agency that is engaged in this brutal war against immigrants.
First, we need to agree that ICE is a problem. ICE is a problem. ICE is a problem.
You want open borders, correct?
Yes.
And I support abolishing ICE.
No borders, no nations.
I don't believe in borders. I think they all need to, all borders need to be done with, so.
The demographic changes of our state are inevitable. You are becoming a minority.
Come on, did you actually think it was really about ICE at all? Do you really think that all of these protests and sudden mainstream media coverage of fenced detention facilities that have existed for decades was because they actually care about the children? Do you think that this is new? Do you think that the call for ending borders and nations altogether is because of the so-called injustices happening at the border? Do you honestly believe that any of these people actually care about any of the kids or people they say they care about? They don't seem to care about the hundreds of thousands of kids who are also taken from their parents and then forced to live under control of the state in grimy foster care facilities where they're likely to be abused, and they don't care about the countless children in America that are homeless and living on the crime-ridden streets, and they also don't seem to care about the kids killed in the 26,000 drone strikes in just one single year under the Obama administration. But they have no problem raising millions upon millions of dollars for kids who are illegally here, sent mostly alone across deserts where they're either raped or sold into sex slavery. Do you actually believe that they have a genuine sympathy for any of these children at all?
Our message absolutely is don't send your children unaccompanied on trains or through a bunch of smugglers. We don't even know how many of these kids don't make it and may have been waylaid into sex trafficking or killed because they fell off a train. We have no way of tracking that. If they do make it, they'll get sent back. More importantly, they may not make it.
Now, this isn't new at all, and it's not about ICE. The No Borders, No Nations communist chant has been around for a very long while. Made mainstream academia by Marxist and devout communist Pam Aldred in a paper published in 2003 called No Borders, No Nations, backed up by Teresa Hayter in a paper published in the same year called No Borders, The Case Against Immigration Control. This war cry against Europe and America has existed and is rampant in each and every American university. It became even more famous when the popular anarchist punk band released their album called A Death of a Nation, with the 11th track titled the same, No Borders, No Nation. This isn't even about American immigration policy at all. It's about bringing on the death of Western civilization and a new age rise of communism. European and American universities have been infiltrated by Frankfurt School literature that was slipped through the English department of Yale and spread like cancer. These texts are what is radicalizing millions upon millions of students in America, students that eventually become politicians. If this truly was about ICE, or America alone, you wouldn't see the same subversive communist tactics in London.
No borders, no nations! Stop deportation! No borders, no nations! Stop deportation!
And you certainly wouldn't see the exact same script playing out in New Zealand and other European countries. Now, their tactics are in plain sight, but also hidden under the veil of social justice and fixing inequality. They have made the proletariat of original communism, the transgender, the gays, the women, the blacks, the Hispanic, and every other group they call oppressed. They have made the bourgeoisie of old communism, the white population of every one of these countries, testosterone, masculinity, and especially and particularly the straight white male. You see, the only way they can bring about their final goal of this communist utopia they envision is to constantly ridicule and ethnically wipe away the only race that votes against their globalist fallen state policies. The only people that created these same great societies, the great infrastructures, the great freedom-based systems that you and I enjoy upon awakening every single morning. The straight, white men. Communism has always been their final goal.
Or because of slanders and prejudices. Instead, actively seek to learn more about this revolution and its final goal of communism.
The parasites who control Hollywood have sold you a lie that America is a nation of immigrants, a communist marketing slogan that was created by the ADL in 1963. Even though the blood of the ancestors of tens of millions of Americans alive today can be found in the sand of Massachusetts and the woods of Pennsylvania, dating back to the conquerors, not immigrants, who freed this country from an overreaching tyrannical mother country. The same parasites who control your media, academia, and produce your movies created an alternative version of American history where the Statue of Liberty signifies endless immigration into America, even though it was a gift from France to honor 100 years of freedom, and the poem that they constantly quote was added to the statue 17 years after it was erected. No, it's not about ending injustice. It's not about fixing racial inequality. It's not about fixing global poverty or ending immigration overreach. No, my friends, for the rich ruling class, it's about cheap nannies, cheap workers, cheap gardeners, and higher profits for their corporations, while they sit in their ivory towers and watch your cities burn to the ground as they listen to symphonies and sip their foreign wines. And for the subversive communists who have completely taken over your institutions, it's about ridding Western countries of white people and then bringing about the same left social communism they were taught about in their radical literature in class by their same professor who dresses up in the same black-clad outfit that they do and then bashes the same people over the head who oppose their destructive beliefs. This has always been their goal. It will always be their goal. And it's time to forcibly remove them from our countries.
Even if there were only one communist in the State Department, even if there were only one communist in the State Department, that would still be one communist too many.